so much buzz and excitement about the digital banking licenses, Singapore included. I mean, is it realistic to think that fintech companies can really eat the lunch of traditional banks?
Yes. I think the way we think about this is much more, not so much replace, but I think it's more a complementary addition. And so as you know, we have a virtual banking license in Hong Kong, and we're looking at also various opportunities about what this digital banking could mean, right? Because if you look at the traditional banking sector, there's still so much opportunities within Southeast Asia. Right? I was just looking at the stats, only 47% of the people have a banking account. So that means more than 350 million people still don't have a banking account. And if you look at the SMEs, only a third of them have access to bank lending and stuff like that. So there's a huge opportunity to do that. That somehow requires a slightly different model to do it. But my view is that it's not a disruption whereby you compete. There's a reason why the traditional banking model doesn't quite serve as well the rest of the market, because I think it requires a different way of serving them at scale to cost, a different way of looking at risk. And that's something that we are very passionate in doing.
Isn't it true as well that traditional banks like DBS have embraced fintech in a huge way? I mean, what role do you see fintech companies can actually fill?
So one of the things that we have a fintech company called OneConnect. One of the ways that it works with our own bank as well as other banks is that we are able to use the technology to help digitize the ecosystem as well. Right? So for example, we have a blockchain trade finance platform, a blockchain SME platform. We're now doing for the whole of Guangdong province with about 11 million SMEs corporates. Whereby with the government, we help digitize the whole SMEs. Right? Instead of going them one by one, getting them digitized, that's only one part of the road. So once they are digitized, you get access also to their kind of supply chain and also information on much digital. And you can then create models on top of it that help facilitate supply chain financing, trade, invoice financing, and others. So you have to go to the source of the problem on how do you use technology to break that information asymmetry to address some of the risk and the cost gaps.
You already have the digital banking license in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Might you be interested in one of the 5 being issued here in Singapore?
Yeah, I think we're actively looking at how this could be, the digital banking license could be used as a conduit to do it. I think in China, where we have all licenses and we have our own tech company, it just works symbiotically. OneConnect's now been in Southeast Asia for about a year, and we're working with various platforms and stuff. So we're also looking at how we have a license that can help actually unleash some of these opportunities and much more.
Jessica, you were in Indonesia recently, and you have big aspirations in Southeast Asia. Share with us how you see the company evolving in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. So I think that we see a lot of opportunities, not just in fintech, or like what we talk about, but also in health and smart city, right? So in health in particular, as you know, we're quite big in China on healthcare. And it's not just Good Doctor. A lot of people see we have Good Doctor, which is doing fantastically well, over 200 million users. But we have 2 other companies, Smart Healthcare, as well as Health Connect, right? Smart Healthcare in particular, I think is very relevant for Southeast Asia. What it does is that we recognize that there's a huge increasing demand for healthcare services, and there's simply not enough doctors or good doctors, right, to cover. I mean, if you look at the ratio of 1,000 people, we're talking about 0.5 doctors per 1,000 people. But you can't magically create doctors overnight, right? So what we've done for the past 10 years is using technology to actually help improve the productivity and accessibility for the doctors. So that the same doctor now can cover a lot more, right? So a few things, we have this thing called ASBOT, we call it by Bob. It's an AI clinical decision support system. We now have 100,000 doctors in China using this every day. So as they are typing in, they may not see a lot of the chronic disease or the rare diseases. As they type in the symptoms, already our engine have recognizes about 20,000 different diseases. It has read all the medical books and the clinical pathways. It will actually pop up various things that they should look at. And that has helped improve the efficacy from 40% to 90%.
Jess, I need to jump in here to ask you about plans to IPO some of your units, including OneConnect. I mean, given the failure of WeWork, do you think that's going to impact your plans?
I think there's a big shift from a lot of the Chinese startups and IPOs in the past have been more consumer type driven. I think there is an increasing need for enterprise software. And I think OneConnect is one of the first kind of what we call enterprise or technology software as a service serving the broader economy. And I think this digitization effort is something that will continue. If you look at the spending, is 1/6 of that of the US. And so we see big kind of potential for that. So we're not really much affected by that.
But do you think the failure of WeWork could impact the valuations of other tech companies?
Potentially for some of them, but I think investors, institutional investors, these are very astute in looking at it. And if you look at just China overall, this big shift of how you need to digitize the whole enterprise, and if you look at the size and stuff, this is something that will continue to grow. So that's why whenever we do either private or public financing, we look for long-term investors. So we're not so concerned about that.